What's up, everybody? Happy Wednesday. My name is Mitchell Brewer, and the silly season news, the dominoes, they just keep falling as we have even more news today. We had Chase Briscoe announced yesterday. Well, today, Erik Jones has made his plans clear for the 2021 season as he has signed with Richard Petty Motorsports. This deal has been long rumored, with Adam Stern coming out on Monday saying that they were finalizing the deal. Everybody kind of just was waiting for this one, and it finally came through today. Jones, it is a multi-year contract, as stated by the team, so that's kind of interesting, meaning that this is not like a Matt Benedetto like situation where you're only going to be there for a year, or maybe even where it wasn't out of the realm of possibilities that Erik may have just signed a 1-year deal and then looked for other opportunities elsewhere, but it appears as if this is going to be a long-term agreement with, not long-term, but at least a multi-year deal with Richard Petty Motorsports. One interesting thing that I took away from all of this is that Jerry Baxter, who is the crew chief for the 43 car right now, will be coming back next season, which I'm a little bit surprised by. I thought that he was probably going to follow Bubba with to this unnamed Michael Jordan, Denny Hamlin team next season, because I believe it's on Door Bumper Clear, a great podcast featuring Freddie Kraft, Brett Griffin, and TJ Majors. If you haven't listened to it, I would encourage you to. But Bubba Wells was on that podcast and had made a note about how he kind of brought Jerry Baxter back. I believe they said it was on like a fishing trip or something like that, where he kind of just threw out the idea to Jerry Baxter, and he took it and ran with it, and they came back together. So it's interesting that they are staying with each other, or they aren't staying with each other, sorry, and that Erik Jones, who I really think has been kind of underlooked throughout all of this. We've heard constantly about how Chase Briscoe is ready for Cup. We've heard about how Kyle Larson, his previous success, he's deserving of another top ride. But Erik Jones, I mean, everybody kind of is very on the fact that he didn't have as much success as his teammates at Joe Gibbs Racing. But I think that's tough because not a lot of drivers, like you look at this season, for example, I don't think a lot of drivers, look at Kyle Busch, he's not having the season that he wants. He hasn't won his car, but you don't see anybody calling for him to be removed. Meanwhile, Erik Jones, I think he's done a pretty solid job with Joe Gibbs Racing, and it's something that Tony Stewart talked about yesterday, where these Toyota guys, they get to the top level, and then when it's kind of a side effect to having so many developmental drivers, which I think Toyota has a lot of credit. They're very good at scouting talent, but then you get all these drivers to Cup, and then all of a sudden there's not enough room, and it looks like Erik Jones is one of the victims of the situation, similar to Daniel Suarez. So it's interesting. I'm intrigued by this deal, and it'll be in the 43 made ground this season. I don't think there's any denying that. Bubba Wallace definitely looked a lot better. There was a part of the early season, if they didn't have the problems, I believe that was at Charlotte, where they just had something go wrong that they weren't able to fix, and then they ended up having to settle for lower 30th place finishes. They don't have those days. They weren't that far off from being a possible top 16 team. There were times that they looked like, hey, they can be a playoff team, and maybe now with Erik Jones, they can take that next step. It'll be interesting to see. I'm not sure about my expectations for them. I'm not sure. I definitely probably wouldn't. I'm more of a person that likes to see it happen before it actually or before predicting that something's going to happen, because you could easily say that this team's going to be a mid-20s team again and be wrong. You could say that they're going to be a playoff team and be wrong. This is kind of an unknown, which I think there's going to be a lot of next year. We saw today that Team Trackhouse, that's going to be essentially a third RCR car. We don't know what to expect from them. I didn't realize that they were going to have that close of a connection with Richard Childress Racing. All of a sudden, they're a third RCR car. Could they be a playoff contender? It's going to be really interesting, and I think it's going to be a lot of fun. And I think moving forward in NASCAR, I think it's going to be something that a lot of people want. I think we're going to have a lot more competitive cars, and it'll be interesting if Richard Petty Motorsports can continue to make those solid gains as they have in the past couple of seasons. And we've seen it. We've seen it as if you, whatever your opinion of Bubba Wallace is, you can't deny that he's had some really good runs. Indianapolis last year, he finished in the top 5. He looks like he could win a super speedway race a bunch of times this season. And I know the super speedway races are kind of your anybody can win, but still, it takes a lot to run up front consistently in those races. So it'll be interesting to see what Erik Jones adds to this team. But yeah, what are your thoughts on this move? Are you surprised? Are you excited? What do you think is going to be coming next? Are we going to get that Kyle Larson announcement that we've all just been anxiously awaiting for? Or are we going to get another silly season surprise? I'd love to hear it. Be sure to like and subscribe to our channel. Like our Facebook page, Mitchell Does Sports, Twitter at MitchellB66. And I hope you have a great Wednesday. And if there's any more news tomorrow, we'll be back again tomorrow. So until then, we'll see you then. Thank you.